Fragrance friends from all over the world, welcome to today's video in which I will show you 10 fragrances that my wife and I love to share. As you know, designer brands love to specifically market fragrances towards men and women individually. I think it's really bizarre. I think, you and I should be able to decide for ourselves whether it is appropriate for us to wear it. There shouldn't be a gender in fragrances, in my opinion. In the niche world and the niche fragrances, you have this thing a lot less marketing about men or women. But yeah, designer wise, it is just how it is. They use it in the marketing scheme with pictures of men or women to attract buyers. That's just how it is. I just did a video on fragrances that feel masculine to me, even though I said I don't like the concept. I do obviously have an impression when I wear a specific fragrance. There are fragrances that I feel very masculine wearing them, or feminine, depending on the fragrance. So for today's video, I decided why not do a video on 10 fragrances that my wife and I share. So, these 10 you could consider our ultimate unisex 10 out of the collection. The first 5 that I'm about to show you are 5 fragrances that the house markets towards men, and she wears. She also wears them, and then the second 5 are marketed towards women, and I like to wear them as well. So the first one, by the house of Christian Dior. This is called Dior Homme Intense. Crazy when this fragrance came on the market back in the 2009, or I believe. It's been a while, and I remember this hitting the shelves. It was a game changer in male perfumery because this has the lipstick vibe a lot of you talk about, which is actually that powdery iris which is in the heart and base of this fragrance, but it also has a delicious gourmand element to it, a cacao vanilla thing. And I'm lucky to have the older formulation of this fragrance, not the original, but this is a 2012 bottle, I believe. And yeah, this fragrance delivers what this was originally all about. It's performing excellent, and she likes the tender iris in this fragrance. Obviously, she loves to steal this one from me. Next one, by the house of Valentino. I've talked about this fragrance in my top fall list for designers. This is Uomo. Now, obviously, this is another one in the same genre as Dior Homme Intense. Instead of that iris, you have a creamy hazelnut accord, which also could easily be worn by women. She loves to wear this one as well, guys. I can't fault it. It's a great choice for men and women. The third pick that out of my part of the collection that she likes to wear is by Kenzo. This one is called Kenzo Power. A fragrance that I'm not too sure of whether it is still around or not. But I hope maybe you can still find it. I hope you can still check this one out, because I believe that it is one of the more interesting fragrances from this house. There's a lot of florals in here, but it has a spiciness to it, maybe some pepper. But overall, a fresh floral with a spicy accord. Beautiful stuff, and definitely unisex. The fourth fragrance, again mentioned it in the top fall list for designers. This one is called L'Homme Idéal de Eau de Parfum. Starting off really leathery with tonka and a creamy almond, also in that sweet, almost gourmand type of the game, with, you know, but the leather tones down, and, you know, in that dry down it gets definitely a lot more unisex than it already is. I mean the leather is definitely not rough by any means, so this is another, you know, no-brainer. Everyone can pull this off. Great stuff. And then number 5, which is actually a fragrance that I consider to be quite masculine, and that's because I feel like it has not a, you know, sensual, seductive vibe to it. This is all about that dry, you know, vetiver, cedar wood, kind of, you know, dry, you know, slightly herbal, almost incensey type of wood. This is by Lalique, and the fragrance is called Encre Noire. Encre Noire, I mean, I don't know if it only has to do with, you know, what I just mentioned, but the bottle definitely adds to my feeling towards this one. I feel like it's a rather dark fragrance. I personally think this is quite masculine, but then again, we have a counterpart to Encre Noire in the niche game, which is called Sycomore by Chanel. They are, you know, quite similar, and Sycomore, obviously being a niche fragrance, is labeled as unisex. So again, everyone can wear this. Then we are going to the second half of this list, and these 5 those 5 actually are marketed as feminine, and I think they can easily be worn by me or any other man of you who is watching this video. So the first one that I'm going to show you, maybe the least unisex out of the bunch, because it definitely has something feminine in it, but nevertheless, when you wear it as a man, our skin chemistry is different, and it brings out less of that sweetness. Nevertheless, it's still as hypnotic as ever. Beautiful, sweet and gourmand type of vanilla fragrance with almond, and I mean, smells a little bit like, you know, there's some white florals in here as well. Beautiful stuff, guys. I can't go on about this any further because the video would be 30 minutes and you're not waiting for that one. Next one, again, this is a classic for women, supposedly for women, but I like it a lot. This is by Clinique, Aromatics Elixir. Wow, this is a floral chypre, and if you're not familiar with chypre fragrances, they tend to have a mossy, earthy base, a lot of, you know, oak malls and aromatics. This fragrance has a floral approach in the heart as well, but even some fresh notes in the opening. Overall, a very classy feeling fragrance. This one you have smelled on a lot of you know, more mature woman out there, because it's a fragrance that's been on the market for like several decades, I believe. Still as great as ever before. Aromatic Elixir. By the way, if you're looking for a niche fragrance that goes in this direction, which is definitely not a clone, it doesn't even, you know, come as close as Sycomore comes to Encre Noire, but a fragrance that, you know, delivers a same kind of chypre base, but with more of an animalic approach rather than a floral approach in here. The fragrance is called Roya Risque pour Femme, and I also did a video on that one. I'll put a link in the description again, or you can check it out at the end of this video. Guys, great one. Next fragrance is by the house of Tom Ford. Michael Jackson used to rock this fragrance, so I believe if Michael Jackson, the king of pop, wore it, everyone could wear it. This is obviously a black orchid. As the name suggests, this has a lot of that floral note, orchid, but as my wife calls it, it is like some sort of fragrance trash can. There's so many notes in here. There's patchouli, there's a lot of sweetness, but it's also dry. It has a smoky, incensey vibe to it. There's amber, there's vanilla, there's so many things going on that, you know, your nose is all over the place. It's impossible to detect all of them individually. But yeah, a lot of patchouli, a lot of, you know, earthiness, and it's very, very sweet, very dense fragrance. You can't really wear a lot of it, or you're choking yourself and everyone around you in, you know, the surroundings of like 10 or 15 feet. Definitely a game changer back in the day, and still today a daring choice, but I believe men can, you know, definitely wear this one. Next one is a specific fragrance to the Middle East, but my wife's one of her best friends lives in Abu Dhabi, and she brought this one home a couple of years ago. This is by Swiss Arabia, called Fadeitak. So this is the bottle, really cool looking bottle, guys, and this one is a very dry type of agar wood with some cedar, and it also has a beautiful cacao note, but it's a very dry and spicy, sweet, almost, you know, it's a little bit sweet even, but you know, mostly an agar wood type fragrance. Worth checking out if you can get your hands on it, but as I mentioned, I believe it's, you know, limited to the Middle East. So that's Fadeitak by Swiss Arabia. And then last but not least, a classic created by Jacques Guerlain in 1919. So this is almost 100 years old. In extrait de parfum, this is Mitsouko. And where Aromatic Elixir was a floral chypre, this is more of a fruity chypre. Why am I you know, mentioning fruity? Because this has a beautiful peach note in here. So if you like peach, you know, you won't be disappointed, but you know, always also be prepared for a lot of oak moss and aromatic notes. A great fragrance, again with a very classy, mature vibe. Wow, I mean, I should do a complete in-depth video on this one, but for now that's the closest that I can give you on a quick first, you know, impression. It's very a very classy, mature chypre with that, you know, that peach definitely coming through. Check it out if you haven't heard from it. This fragrance, Mitsouko by Guerlain. So I would like to hear your thoughts on these fragrances. Get a conversation started. I would like to hear your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like or a thumbs up, you know, and subscribe to the channel. Click that bell notification to be, you know, up to date with my new releases. And guys, I hope you have a great end of the evening. Take care and see you in the next one. Bye.